nothing but the truth. Opposition is facing what is called an existentialist threat. It is also pushing for a massive 400 seats, or as they say in Hindi, 400 par. The Congress needs to push that tally down. If it is able to push the BJP down to 250, then even though they may not have defeated the BJP, it would have severely dented Prime Minister Modi's dominance and credibility. Can the India bloc topple Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the upcoming general election? Hello, I'm Raj Chengappa of India Today, and that's the big question we will be answering in this episode of Nothing But the Truth. We will analyze the opposition game plan to defeat the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party or BJP, and do it by focusing on their four major strategies and seeing whether these could work or they could fall by the wayside. But up front, let's be clear that the opposition is facing what is called an existentialist threat. Especially if the BJP succeeds in its plan of winning a brute majority of 370 seats by itself. It is also pushing for a massive 400 seats, or as they say in Hindi, 400 par, with its allies in the National Democratic Alliance, or the NDA. The BJP has humiliated the opposition parties twice in the past, as we know, winning back-to-back majorities in the 543-member Lok Sabha. On its own, it won 282 seats in 2014 and 303 in 2019. And along with its allies in the NDA, the tally was as much as 352 in the last general election. So election 2024 has in fact now become a true test of political relevance for the opposition. That's why they demonstrated a massive show of strength in the capital soon after the arrest of Delhi Chief Minister and Aam Aadmi Supremo Arvind Kejriwal, which was conducted by the Enforcement Directorate recently for his alleged involvement in the Delhi liquor scam. On March 31st, leaders representing the 27 parties that constitute what is called the Indian National Development and Inclusive Alliance, or India for short, they came together on a single platform to condemn not just Kejriwal's arrest, but that of Hemant Soren also, who resigned, if you recall, as Jharkhand Chief Minister this January. This was after the ED took Hemant Soren into custody for an alleged land scam. Meanwhile, the Congress, the largest party in the opposition, received a series of notices from the Income Tax or IT department over alleged tax violations. The IT department demanded that the party has to pay a staggering fine of rupees 3,500 crore. The Congress appealed to the Supreme Court, charging that the IT department of malified action to choke its funds, the party's funds, during this crucial election campaign. That, in fact, forced the IT officials to back off and assure the Supreme Court that they will desist from taking any coercive action against the party till the election period is over. Now, the opposition parties accuse the BJP of poaching their leaders and splitting their parties to gain or retain power in various states. They charge the BJP with using central investigation agencies like the Enforcement Directorate, the CBI, and also the Income Tax Department to cause them and their leaders to defect and join the BJP. They see all these developments as a sinister plan by the BJP to annihilate the opposition altogether, and the plan, they believe, is for the BJP to make radical changes in the constitution that would impact individual freedoms, and that is why they are seeking a brute majority of 370 seats. Now, when my colleague Kaushik Deka and I interviewed Congress President and India convener Mallikarjun Kharge, and this was recently, he told us, and I'm quoting him, "Such is the capture of the constitutional institutions by the BJP that there is an undeclared emergency in the country. Prime Minister Modi has become an autocrat." Close quotes. He called it an undeclared emergency. Of course, the BJP will hotly refute such a serious charge, but the opposition combined is acutely aware that the BJP has a relentless election machinery powered by Prime Minister Modi's personal popularity and his perceived performance record. Along with these factors is the party's Hindu nationalist ideological agenda and its development plank, that is going to be tough for the opposition to beat it. But in all this doom and gloom for the opposition, it has one consolation, and that is the vote share percentage. The fact is that the BJP's vote share in 2019 was around 37% in the Lok Sabha elections, and the NDA's 45%. That meant that as much as or as many as 55% of the electorate had voted parties opposing the BJP-led ones. That statistic demanded that the opposition parties combine their forces and halt the BJP juggernaut as they did under the India banner, which they formed just in July last year. But the BJP struck right back by winning back to its fold Bihar Chief Minister and Janata Dal United Chief Nitish Kumar, who in many senses was the chief pivot of the India alliance. Now, though the India bloc remains diminished by these developments, let us now analyze its game plan to beat the BJP. And as I said earlier, we're going to look at 4 major strategies or factors that will determine the outcome. So after having given you the background, let's come to the first major strategy for India will depend on how the Congress performs in this Lok Sabha election, as it is still the prime challenger to the BJP. Now, of the 303 seats that the BJP won last time, the Congress was its primary rival in 190 of them. However, the Congress managed to win only 15 of them, with the remaining 175 seats going to the BJP. That gives a strike rate to the BJP of close to 90 to 95%. Now, in 125 of these seats, of the 190 seats that we were talking about, the Congress lost by a margin of more than 15 percentage points, and therefore, and this is really massive, will require a huge wave in its favor to make it take the leap and beat the BJP. Overall, it gets worse. The overall difference in vote share between the BJP and the Congress, in fact, was 20 percentage points. If you recall, the Congress won only 52 seats in 2019, and in 2014, just 44 seats, an all-time low for its tally since independence. So the Congress is contesting this time only 320 of the 543 seats in the elections. The other seats it has conceded to its allies. And at this juncture, the Congress party's only hope is to win enough seats in these direct contests with the BJP so as to drop the BJP numbers below the 272 mark, which is needed for a simple majority in the Lok Sabha. So get the equations right. The BJP has 303 seats. The simple majority is 272, so therefore they have 35 seats extra. The Congress needs to push that tally down to something like 250, and that means winning over 100 to 120 seats on its own. If it is able to push the BJP down to 250, then even though they may not have defeated the BJP, it would have severely dented Prime Minister Modi's dominance and credibility. And that is possibly its game plan, because it knows that the odds are stacked against it and the BJP has decisive advantages. But if it can make up and push its tally from the current 52 that it won in 2019 to over 100 and more, then the Congress actually begins to make a huge dent into the BJP. So to do that, the Congress has 3 major strategies to achieve this goal. So let's look at all 3 of them. The first one is that its youthful leader, Rahul Gandhi, has in the past 2 years worked towards a coherent national narrative to counter that of the BJP. And that is to his credit, because he has completed 2 yatras, one on foot from north to south, and the other by bus from east to west. So he's crisscrossed the entire country and moved and mingled with the people, listened to them, and understood what India is all about, and that's what he said in his various post-press conferences. Now, Rahul Gandhi's discourses in these yatras focused on countering the alleged communal politics of the BJP and the fact that he wanted to protect the constitutional values, apart from providing jobs and working towards uplifting the poor, the downtrodden, and the marginalized across the country. Also, to the credit of Rahul Gandhi and, of course, the Congress party, they have kept up their relentless attack on the Modi government for rising unemployment, price rise, and the BJP's alleged nexus with big corporate groups. The party is also pushing the plank of a national caste census to woo the other backward classes away from the BJP. Remember, the last time the OBC vote went quite decisively towards the BJP, and now with the caste census, the Congress hopes to split that vote and gain some of that. Apart from that, its allies would also benefit. Now let's come to the second counter that the Congress has, and this is their second strategy. The Congress is trying to counter what is called the Modi guarantee, which the Prime Minister announced, which largely looks at what he calls Viksit Bharat, or a developed India by the year 2047. So the Congress, in its counter, has come up with a set of 25 guarantees of its own to attract the socially backward classes, the farmers, women, workers, and youth, precisely the kind of target group that the Prime Minister was aiming at when he talked of the fact that there were new jatis, that he was there and was trying to break the caste conundrum. So the Congress party's promises this time, or the guarantees, include removing the 50% cap on reservation, that is especially because once the caste census comes, and if it is seen that the backward classes and the extreme backward classes are more than 60 to 65% of the population, then they would like to lift the Supreme Court order that says that you cannot cross 50% when it comes to reservations in government jobs and institutions. Then the Congress also wants to provide 3 million government posts. They've announced an apprenticeship with an annual stipend of rupees 1 lakh to every graduate and diploma holder. That should enthuse the young. And for women, there is a rupees 1 lakh a year to a woman in every poor family. Apart from that, to assuage the farmers, they are promising legal status for the minimum support prices to help them. And this has been a demand that, as you've seen, even the recent farmers' agitation, that there should be a legal sanction for MSP. Apart from that, very importantly, they're also promising a national minimum wage of rupees 400 per day. And they have many more such promises. So it is to be seen whether the Congress guarantee can counter the Modi guarantee. The third strategy is to field fresh candidates, and of the 230 odd candidates announced so far, 66% are fresh faces. And while these are very good moves by the Congress, let's also be clear that the party's cadre remains totally demoralized after its defeat in the Hindi heartland states and desertions of many of its leaders recently. It is also seriously hindered by a lack of cadre to communicate the strategies and get voters to support it. And this you must contrast with the electoral machine that the BJP has, which is finely tuned, well-oiled, and really aggressive. And the Congress doesn't have that kind of might, muscle, or money power to do the kind of things that the BJP does. Now, let's look at, having dealt with the Congress, let's look at the second major strategy of the opposition combined. And this depends entirely on the India bloc to deliver on the 4 key battleground states that account for almost 220 seats, or half the Lok Sabha. And let me give you a list of those 4 states that are there. These are Uttar Pradesh, which has 80 seats, Maharashtra 48, West Bengal 42 seats, and Bihar 40 seats. Together, they combine and make 220 seats. So whoever wins these 4 states has a great chance to become or to gain power in the 2024 upcoming general elections that's there. But here, this is where the India alliance begins to trip up. Instead of consolidating the forces that it had gained in the past couple of years, it has allowed the BJP to regain the advantage. And let me take state by state to explain what is really happening. In Uttar Pradesh, for instance, where the opposition parties won only 16 of the state's 80 seats in the 2019, the BJP is not satisfied with just getting 64 seats. It has systematically diminished the influence of the Samajwadi Party, led by Akhilesh Yadav. If you recall, Akhilesh had fashioned a rainbow alliance against the BJP and its partners in the assembly elections in 2022 and surprised them with the kind of response he was getting. But since then, the BJP has won over 2 of the Samajwadi Party's key allies that were with him in 2022. And so, Akhilesh hasn't kept quiet. To counter the BJP's consolidation of votes from non-Yadav OBC groups and Dalits, the Samajwadi Party and Akhilesh has been trying to create what is called a social coalition of PDA, which is PDA, which is a Hindi acronym for backward classes, scheduled castes and minorities. So he's taking the entire spectrum that is there, not restricting himself just to the Yadavs, where he anyway enjoys tremendous support. But in some senses, the fact that the Bahujan Samaj Party, headed by Mayawati, has decided to go on its own, has cleared the pitch for India and particularly Akhilesh Yadav, and therefore it still remains an uphill task for the SP, the Akhilesh and his allies to grab a substantial number of seats from the BJP in India's electorally most important state. Now let's turn to the second state, Maharashtra, which has 48 seats, like I told you earlier. And here the situation remains completely fluid, especially after the successful splitting of the Maharashtra Vikas Aghadi, or the MVA, by the BJP. If you recall, in 2019, the BJP had combined with the Shiv Sena in the Lok Sabha elections to win 41 out of the 48 seats. And then, of course, the alliance broke up during the assembly elections, and Shiv Sena went ahead and formed the MVA with the Nationalist Congress Party, as well as the Congress, and ruled for a couple of years, almost 2-3 years, before the BJP toppled it. And therefore, the way the BJP did it was to split the Shiv Sena. So this time with both the Shiv Sena, and of course recall that the National Congress Party was also split when Ajit Pawar moved to the BJP and became a deputy chief minister just last year. So what has happened is both the Shiv Sena and the Nationalist Congress Party, or the NCP, are split down the middle. And right now it is still not clear which faction will get the votes, whether it is the Uddhav Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena or the Eknath Shinde faction. And when it comes to the NCP, whether Sharad Pawar will get the votes, his faction will get the votes, or Ajit Pawar for the NCP. Most experts that I spoke to agree that both Uddhav and Sharad Pawar may get the sympathy vote, and that could dent the BJP and its allies in its overall tally in Maharashtra. And the sympathy vote, because people have not been, apparently, I mean, this could be, these are pollsters that talk about it, that they are not very happy about the way the BJP went about destroying both the Shiv Sena and the NCP to regain power in Maharashtra. So that is something that the BJP has to contend with and, of course, counter in the upcoming 2 months where campaigning will be on. So let's turn to the third big battleground, which is Bihar. And this again promises to be a really tough fight, though the BJP had moved smartly to get Nitish Kumar back in its fold. But the India bloc combination led by Tejasvi Yadav of the Rashtriya Janata Dal, or the RJD, seems to be gaining traction. Again, these are early days yet, there's still 2 months to go, but there is something that Tejasvi Yadav is doing that is making waves across in many parts of the state, and he's doing it by now looking beyond the RJD's core support base of the MY combined. If you recall, the MY consists of Muslims who constitute 18% of Bihar's population, and Yadavs who account for 14%, which totals 34%. So he starts with an advantage of 34%, but the combine of the BJP and Nitish Kumar's JDU last time won almost close to 55% of the votes. So not only does he have to keep these 34%, but Tejasvi Yadav has to pull the BJP's vote percentage and the JDU's vote percentage down by at least 10 to 12%, so that he could cross the 40% mark. And therefore, he's reaching out to sizable sections of the extremely backward classes, or EBCs. And this was the vote bank that Nitish had cultivated for the JDU. And the India alliance may gain in some numbers, as we know that the chief minister's credibility, that is Nitish Kumar's credibility, is on the decline after his frequent flip-flops. But we don't know that if it, in a general election where prime minister is to be elected, whether this would play a role. People might say, well, we want Prime Minister Modi for the center, And if it comes to the state elections next time, maybe Tejasvi Yadav will do far better. He almost won it last time, and this could give him the push to win it when the assembly elections happen. But that's still some time away. We are talking of the Lok Sabha elections. Now let's come to the fourth battleground state, which is West Bengal. And here again, the India alliance had a chance because, as we know, Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee is a fiery competitor. But this time she has decided that her party, the Trinamool Congress, would go it alone in the state. Even though she says she will remain part of the India bloc, she has decided not to have a seat-sharing agreement or arrangement with the Congress or the left parties. Now, Mamata Banerjee's party, particularly its leaders, face allegations of misappropriation of funds and corruption, and of course, anti-incumbency. But the chief minister remains a significant bulwark against the BJP. The 2019 election saw her party, that of course was not good news for the TMC because it yielded 18 of the 42 seats to the BJP, with the gap between the two parties just 3% in terms of votes or the overall vote share, just 3%. So it is going to be a tough fight for Mamata Banerjee to keep the BJP at bay and try and push those numbers down, the 18 seats that it won last time, and push it down further. And some pollsters believe that the reason why the TMC didn't want to tie up with the Congress or the left parties, because if it did, then the anti-incumbency votes that is likely to be there would go to the BJP. By keeping the Congress and left separately in the fray, those votes may go there and the BJP's vote share may not go up, and that will give Mamata Banerjee the chance. But of course, as I said, this is early days. Mamata Banerjee did get an advantage in some senses when the BJP implemented or put out the rules of the Citizenship Amendment Act, which gave her campaign a big push, with the Muslim vote constituting close to 27% of the total share. And because of the CAA, while it might help certain Hindu communities who have refugees who are in West Bengal and certain border districts, the Muslims are likely to consolidate solidly behind Mamata Banerjee. And therefore, we have to now see whether this would have a major impact and benefit Mamata Banerjee, even as the fact that she may lose some Hindu votes in those border regions. Now, quickly, there are also very interesting tie-ups in the NDA grouping between the Congress and AAP party, normally rivals, but this time they're contesting Gujarat, Haryana and Delhi, and that constitutes 43 seats. And where the BJP made a near clean sweep in 2019, so it remains a very tough fight for the India alliance, particularly the AAP and Congress. Of course, in Punjab, AAP has decided to go it alone, and there again, the state remains very fluid in terms of what would be the outcome. So let's then move to the third major strategy in India's game plan, and this is to guard its southern fortress while expanding the territory over there. Now, Team India is confident of scoring high both in Tamil Nadu, which has 39 seats, and Kerala, which has 20. That is a total of 59 seats that's there. And therefore, in Tamil Nadu, the DMK-led India bloc has got a very strong alliance that is put together, looks set to grab a majority of the 39 seats as it did last time, despite the campaign blitzkrieg by Prime Minister Modi that his party had unleashed. To beat anti-incumbency, the DMK has dropped 6 sitting MPs so far, and Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has also launched several welfare schemes to woo women and the youth, who were the traditional supporters of his arch-rival AIADMK. So Stalin is set, along with his allies, that includes the Congress, to once again sweep. But of course, the BJP believes that there has been a lot of momentum that Prime Minister Modi has gathered. It has a very vocal president over there, Annamalai, and therefore they think they've sort of created the entire mohal, or the kind of support that they require to make a serious dent and become the prime challenger to the DMK. Now let's move to Kerala, where despite all the bickering, the Congress and the left have come together under the India bloc, virtually shutting the door on the BJP. In 2019, the Congress had won 15 out of the state's 20 seats, and the left parties the remaining 5. Now, the BJP has fielded Union Minister of State Rajiv Chandrasekhar, and he's standing against Congress MP Shashi Tharoor in Thiruvananthapuram this time, and this fight is guaranteed to grab all the attention. But the fact remains that the BJP is a marginal player in this southern state, and whoever wins, whether it is the UDF or the LDF, the numbers will accrue to the India kitty. But in Karnataka, my home state, despite the Congress pulling off a major upset in the assembly polls last year, it's going to be a tough fight for them to win a substantial number of seats from the BJP. Remember, last time the Congress won just 1 seat of the 28 seats, while the BJP got 26 and the Janata Dal Secular got 1 seat. The BJP now has tied up with the JDS to woo its sizable Vokliga vote bank. And for the Congress, the Deputy Chief Minister, D.K. Shivakumar, who belongs to this community, remains popular, and this may blunt the BJP and JDS combined efforts. The BJP has also made moves to win over the Lingayats, the other dominant community in the state. Remember, last time during the assembly elections, the Lingayats voted quite substantially for the Congress, and that is one of the reasons why they romped home to power in that state. Now the BJP has tried to neutralize that. And moreover, the other factor that could push the BJP ahead is Prime Minister Modi's popularity. And this, pollsters say, remains a major factor in the state, and especially when it comes to Lok Sabha elections, because Karnataka is known to choose a local party for the state, or whichever party local leader for the state. But when it comes to the center, it tends to vote nationally. And I've seen that happening since 1983-84, when Rajiv Gandhi won the elections with a landslide, 414 seats, and in Karnataka all virtually swept the state. But in the next 3 months, Ramakrishna Hegde, who had resigned as chief minister, came back with a full majority, showing how mature the Karnataka voter is, and therefore this remains still to be seen how it's done, how the Congress will counter it. But what they have done so far, and it's very smartly done, is they are now relying very heavily on Chief Minister Siddharamaia's experiment of what is called Ahinda, which is a Kannada acronym for the Social Coalition of the Minorities, Backward Classes and Scheduled Castes, which constitutes 60% of the state's population. This Ahinda combination is the one that also propelled the state, the Congress to power in the state. And the Karnataka Congress is also going into this election on the back of the implementation of its 5-pole guarantees, such as free bus rides for women and free supply of 200 units of electricity. Now, if you recall, this is where the entire Congress guarantee came, and then subsequently the BJP appropriated with its own guarantees. And the fact that they've implemented quite a lot of their guarantees that they've done in the past year and a half that they've been ruling the state, this may help the Congress to gain more seats from the BJP this time. Of course, again, early days. Now, the neighboring state of Telangana, which is, the Congress stormed to power there when it defeated the Bharat Rashtra Samiti in the assembly polls just last year, is very interestingly poised. If you recall, in 2019, the BRS had won 9 of the 17 seats in the state, the BJP 4, and the Congress 3, K. Chandrasekhar Rao or KCR. The election in Telangana has become a direct battle between the Congress and the BJP, and the Congress may gain more seats in the bargain. In neighboring Andhra Pradesh, however, it's a vastly different picture. It has 25 seats, it's a large state, but there the India bloc lost a potential ally when Chandrababu Naidu's Telugu Desam Party, or TDP, chose to tie up with the BJP. The Congress has always been a rival of Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy's YSRCP Congress, and so its chances, the Congress's chances, remain slim in the state, but it is still making an effort. So broadly speaking, the 3 big strategies for the India bloc that I had outlined are: 1, that the Congress needs to step up to the plate and its act and win more seats where it faces a direct contest with the BJP, especially in the 200-odd seats where it contests with the BJP. Then the second factor I talked about is that the India bloc must go substantially in the battleground states of Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, West Bengal and Bihar. And the third factor is for India to hold on to the south by sweeping Tamil Nadu and Kerala and expanding its territory or tally by winning big in Karnataka and Telangana. However, and here is the big catch, on the fourth major strategy of having a leader who could challenge Modi for the prime ministerial post, the Indian alliance comes a complete cropper. Now, while Prime Minister Modi epitomizes decisive leadership and expounds a vision of a Viksit Bharat, the India leaders seem more power-hungry, their aspirants seem more interested in pushing their individual party agendas rather than thinking nationally. That is why Prime Minister Modi has cleverly turned this into a presidential contest like the ones that we see in the United States. Cephalologist Pradeep Gupta of Access My India, the very well-known cephalologist, told me that he believes that without Modi's presence, the BJP would go down to as much as 182 seats, which, if you recall, that was the highest it achieved during A.B. Vajpayee's period when he was Prime Minister then. So, Prime Minister Modi remains the key to the BJP's success, and so far, let's put it this way, Rahul Gandhi has not been a match for Modi when it comes to leadership. The gap between Modi and Rahul Gandhi, the popularity gap, has only widened as the recent India Today Mood of the Nation poll showed, and this is not good news for the Congress. Congress President and India convener Mallikarjun Kharge, in his interview with India Today that I talked about earlier, India Today magazine, told us that he believes more than leadership, it is ideology that would prevail. He believes that the voters would give the India alliance a majority, but if you go by current trends, there's still 2 months to go, as I said, the Congress and India's best bet is to bring the BJP's numbers down to below the 272 mark to around 230 to 250. That would deliver a massive psychological blow to Narendra Modi and the BJP. But it's early days yet, and the scene could shift in the weeks ahead. A black swan event could happen. Anything is possible in India's elections, and that is why it is such a great celebration of democracy. Meanwhile, for more details, you could read the in-depth cover story done by my colleague Kaushik Dekar on the Opposition Gameplan, as well as our exclusive interview with Congress President Kharge, which we did jointly. I sat with Kaushik as well on this interview. Thank you for being with me in this episode of Nothing But the Truth. I look forward to having you with me next week. Nothing but the truth.